Hey, Kowalsky here. Well, as you can see, I'm recording videos back to back. Well, because this tournament has been so bad that I could have recapped all 7 games in about 20 minutes. You're gonna see. Obviously the title has changed and the opponents are now quote unquote good enough because one of them is like 1700, which I'm not gonna spoil the result, but I had a good result against him. And then I played this girl that I think she was about maybe 1200. I think I cannot remember, and I cannot tell you for sure because I cannot find the tournament. But these are rounds 3 and 4. And right, I'm just gonna show you this game. This is a very awful game. This is round 3, right? I'm sitting at 1.5 out of 2. And right, it's just the next game. And this is actually the last game that I played on Friday. And in this game I just mindlessly played an opening that I thought I should just be fine in. Alright, I just played c5, which is just bad here because dc5, and after knight a6, right, normal plan. Now you just get queen c2, and after you take the pawn, now you get cd5, and after you go knight c to e4, for example, now you get for example just d6, and after bishop e6, I mean, you're just down a pawn and you have to play a worse endgame or middle game or a worse game in general. But that was my idea, right? Just go into like suffering mode and then it'll somehow be fine. And then cd5, knight d5 happens, but then she plays bishop e5, and now I'm going there like, okay, let's take, and then go c takes, and then go knight c6, and then play this suffering endgame. And so she developed her knight and I just developed my bishop, and then she moved her rook. And now this position, right, the paradox of all is just this position is fine. This position is genuinely plus 0.3. Maybe a little more if we let the computer think. This position has never been reached by any top players because it's just bad, but at the same time, if I just play queen b6 and suppose we trade queens, now it's just dead equal. But okay, let's say queen a4, now you cannot take as your bishop is hanging. But let's say you go knight takes, b takes, and now just you go rook a to d8. Again, you're supposed to not have any problems, because if rook b1, you just get bishop b5, and then if c4, thinking that you're smart, well, you're just losing a rook, so you're not that smart. And right, you just have to move the queen, and now you move your queen as well. You attack a pawn, maybe rook b2, but this should genuinely be just a draw. But instead, let's say the moron that I am, because you should not be so harsh on yourself, but sometimes you just can't help it. Like, let's be honest, I was just a complete idiot in this game. I just played rook b8, missing the point that queen takes a7 and then my bishop is hanging. I didn't even see that, and now making it here I could have just went for, right, like a position like this and then played queen b6 and then went for this trade and then said, okay, I'm down a pawn, I'm down the a pawn, but this is a survivable position. No, instead I go queen b6 right away, and I just give my opponent this just completely insanely winning position, like rook b5 now, and e4, and there's just nothing that I can try here. I try to get some counterplay, and in the end, in fact, I do. Like, this position becomes more and more okay for me as time goes on, but it's just that her position is so much better anyway. Like here, for example, the position is right, plus 0.678 according to the computer. If I play the move bishop to c4, attacking this pawn, and now I get, for example, bishop f1, bishop takes f1, king takes f1, and now the move knight to b5, desperately trying to go for something like this. If this happens, this is a draw. But okay, here she will of course play b3, and now I'm fundamentally lost again. I might try to hold something like this, for example, rook b4, now king g1, let's say takes. I might try to hold this, but it's unlikely I will with the two passers here. Instead of that, like, right, you have the chance to go for something that you could somehow drop, because the whole idea is here, if b3 happens, here you get the move, very annoying move, bishop back to e6, and now this is cut off, and that's very important. You're gonna see why in a second in another line that we're gonna play. And now my position just holds itself together, and it's very hard for her to actually break through. But instead, again, as I said, right, I just played this move, going for counterplay, and after she played b3, wow, there's no counterplay. Who would have guessed? And here I just tried to sack a pawn, right, to just get rook b2 check, and this is actually a right sacrifice, but it's just the fact that I'm already down 2 pawns to begin with. And here, if I played a move like rook d2, maybe I could have somehow tried to survive, let's say rook d1, and then we maybe trade and maybe go for a check, maybe king f2. Maybe I can somehow fool her here. No, check would be very bad, but maybe knight e6, maybe I can swing over, maybe somehow I can create the slightest chance of counterplay. A4, let's say here, maybe a5 even, but then I would take this, but this is losing to rook d4. Okay, maybe not right now, maybe just knight b7 forking. Yeah, this would have been winning the pawn. Instead of that, again, I just played this move, and now just completely blundering in one move, and I resign. I just resign, okay? Again, 32 moves of just complete idiocy by me, and just, yeah. Here, you know, but I could have tried something, maybe bishop c4, maybe a move with the bishop. The only problem this game was right here, the misinterpretation of the moves. Queen b6, and I would have been just fine, and that's just another example of being way too careless. And the next game is gonna show the exact opposite. Now, I was playing with white, and my opponent is actually one of my best chess friends, and he is 1700. He's not really playing at that level anymore, but he's strong, like 1600, and then, you know, if he really focus or gets a very good game, he's 1700 plus level. So and we talked before the game, should we make a draw, because we were planning to do something else, but then in the end we decided, you know, let's just play the game, and you know, let's not make draws and stuff like that. So knight f3, knight f6 he goes, I go d4, e6, but I already know what we're gonna play, because we played this at the club many times. And here he plays c6, and then again, this game I was it was just simply relaxed. I was relaxed during this game. It was almost like I was playing blitz. Blitz may be a little bit of an exaggeration, but rapid. I was almost like I was playing rapid. So I just played queen c2. I just knew my opening. That's the problem. I just knew my opening, and I was just playing relaxed. Here b3. B3, I didn't even know it from the top of my head, but I just found it over the board, and it's apparently one of the best moves. And you know, this position has actually been played at the top level, right? We have b6, and you know, there are 2 games, and both of them continue e4. It's exactly what I did. So I'm playing top moves, right? d4, now knight e4, and after bishop b7, knight e5. Again, both games continue, but those games were draws. And here, after knight takes c4, bishop takes c4, h6, bishop to b2 is played in that game. I go bishop e3, which is an improvement according to the engine, but it's very slight improvement. Queen c7, and now here I have the chance to maybe create imbalance with the move c5. Giving up this pawn here, but taking on b6, and having the following position where my opponent has this very bad weakness on c6. Now, of course, he can defend perfectly, right? He can just defend perfectly, play c5, force me to make this trade, and now, right, I cannot take because I'm just gonna get bombarded. And I can just play, for example, rook f d1, and the advantage is so slight that I am never gonna convert this, but technically this should be right a better position for white, and I'm gonna add this to my repertoire. But during the game I played f4, which is not losing or anything. Like you know, I'm just gonna very quickly request a computer analysis so that we're gonna actually see the fact that we played very well, right? We played very well. During this game I had only 3 inaccuracies. I played at an 18 average centipawn loss. Do you know what that means? 18 average centipawn loss. Magnus Carlsen plays like at 12. That's mad. It's mad. f4, now c5, bishop b7, queen b7, and now f5. This maybe was not the best option, but this was like my only way forward that I saw. And now rook a d1, and then this move is an inaccuracy by my opponent because of the trade, and now e6, and I find all of this in a heartbeat. But now I miss the key frame, the key time frame, right? It's very important to understand the timing of the moves, and now rook e1 would have been just good because I want to play rook e1 anyways. Why not play rook e1 right away? I play bishop f4 to not allow him to go bishop d6 or right queen c7 and just move on the dark squares. But after queen d7 and now queen e4, once again I'm losing too much time. Here again I should have went rook e1 or h4, but h4, right, I didn't want to get into all of that because I didn't really want to take here anyways. And after queen e4 he gets this move, and now queen f5 is actually the best move, but I go queen c6, and queen c6 again by no means is losing, but I'm just losing time, right? So he goes back, which is an inaccuracy because now he allows rook e1, and now he goes queen e8, and here is like my real inaccuracy. Queen takes on e8. I should not trade queens. I should not again, out of being way too relaxed, way too comfy in the position. I didn't want to play anything too crazy. I didn't want to, you know, I actually didn't want to think. I just queen c7. I thought about it during the game. I'm attacking this pawn, but I didn't know what I just disliked about this position. I simply disliked queen e7. I know that, and now I was feeling forced to go back. So this would not have worked. But the computer suggests queen e4. What I didn't like about queen e4 is this, and then, right, let's say you cannot go queen f5 anymore, or at least that's how I felt, because you might get queen c6, although it's just e7 in this position. But like, you know, you might get, for example, a move like this, and then maybe even g6 or something like that. So I just didn't like something, but I was just way too lazy to calculate exactly, and I just went based on a feeling that, I mean, this should be fine. Okay, this should be fine. King f2, I just come in, and then maybe I'm winning the end game. G5, bishop c7. Now obviously if you do this, now you're actually losing because bishop d8, and you cannot defend the f6 pawn anymore. And if you try to do this, it's a very funny thing, just e7, and now if you take this, I make a queen, and if you take the pawn, I just take the bishop, and I'm up a bishop. And if you try to play like this, well, I just make a queen, and you cannot take the rook because you're forced to take the queen. And so therefore we see king g7, right, the best move by my opponent. Obviously he's very strong here. Now h4 again, the top move, king f6, bishop e5. Now you don't want to go take the pawn because bishop b8 check. Let's say king d7 or king f7, doesn't really matter. We trade, and now I take, and now for example bishop d6 takes, and g4 check. Now king g3, h5, and this should be a fine position. Like, I shouldn't be able to just push the pawn here mindlessly because this is now a draw, but at the same time, you know, I'm the only one that maybe can win this. So bishop b5, he just goes back, right? He sees the threat. I just go bishop c7, and now g4. No, bishop 7, and now g4. This is my second inaccuracy. I'm allowing him to take, and what I missed here is I just thought he had to take, and I'm getting an open file for my rook. And that, you know, I just go king f4, for example, and then king f6. I just play the same thing, but it's not really true because now he maybe takes, and we go into this. But now he has bishop d6, and he wins my rook. So again, some other variations, but here he luckily went h5 and just went g4 check and just closed the position down. And now it's again an inaccuracy by him. Here, if he would have taken the pawn, kept the position slightly open, right, even volunteered to get I don't know, to get the open file against him, right? So like in this variation here, okay, like takes, I cannot really go here because again king f6 is very strong. It's very annoying. I cannot really move because he just goes here, right? And I cannot take because he just takes this, and then, you know, I'm forced to do something else. So here maybe king f3, maybe I would have been forced to go back. I don't really have a move, but luckily for me he went g4, and after king g3 this is a draw. By the way, this is a very nice tactic. You cannot just win a pawn here because the pawn just promotes, so you gotta be careful with that. But he played king f5, and then we just repeated moves, and that was a draw. So right, you can see the contrast. I I got a very nice, I finished this game with like 45 minutes on the clock, and I began with 60, like, and this is the 42 moves game. What am I doing? What am I even doing? Do I even care about the tournament situation? No, I don't. I just don't. I mean, but how I'm playing, I just don't. So 2 out of 4 after 4 rounds. That was trash. And then we have 3 more rounds, and we're gonna quickly go through them in the next video. But until then, have a good one. Kowalsky out.